What's going on, my friends? I am here with Supersense Presents live with our headliner, Andy Timmons. How's it going, man?
Hey, it's going great, Shane. Good to be talking with you on this fine window. It was Thursday. We get a little,
Absolutely, yeah.
I lose
I thought
track of the
yesterday was
days.
Thursday. I was panicking because I looked at my clock and I was like, "Oh man,
Oh,
I missed the I missed the interview."
yeah, that's been happening to me a lot. Just the days just kind of run together. But great to be here with you, and very much looking forward to our event coming up.
Thank you, man. I am too. This is to me this is the culmination of I've been watching Andy on a website called stageit.com for about 18 months. Been watching this guy tear the shit out of a guitar live on the internet for over 100 shows. And so to me,
Wow.
this is the culmination of brief conversations on message boards leading up to a couple of Zoom hangouts. It is an absolute honor to be able to connect, man. Thank you so much for
Oh
all your
man,
time.
I'm so honored that you attended so many shows. It's there's been certain folks on these stage shows. There's for those that don't know, I'm performing live on camera, and then communicating with there's a message board where people can post. And so if you're not an active poster, which you post sometimes, I'm not always aware of who's there and
I'm
who's
pretty
not. So
quiet.
when,
I like to
I
enjoy
was going to
people.
say, so when you let me know that you had been at that many shows, I was just really honored by that, and I appreciate that you would hang out with me that so many times. And again, I think it was so important, for musicians like myself to have a platform like that, to have the outlet to be able to connect with fans, because we were all kind of stuck at home. All the tours were postponed and or canceled, as everybody knows. So so when I
Yeah.
when I quickly stumbled on a friend of mine that was doing these live internet streaming gigs, I quickly wanted to learn about that, so I would have some venue basically to do shows. And obviously it was a form of income as well during the non-touring months. Like you say, it's 18 months or so. We're just now starting to get back out and doing a show here and there, but full tours will start happening, it looks like, next year. We're planning some stuff in Europe and the Pacific Rim. So little by little, but thanks to all that came out, and be great to be here and to help raise awareness for what you guys are doing.
Absolutely, man. Seriously, really, really appreciate it. And those shows sounded excellent, by the way. And that's the kind of sound that you're gonna get in the next couple of weeks on July 15th for the Super Sense Presents show. Andy's
Yeah.
studio setup sounds fantastic, and we'll give you a sample of that studio setup as well, so you'll be able to hear how the live show sounds because it's going to be seriously really good. I cannot wait. What does it look like for you in the future, man? Do you see more virtual shows coming? Do you see I know a lot of people did virtual shows for a good while, and as soon as
Yeah.
stuff opened up, they were like, "Man, I'm done with this. I'm going back out on the road," and they're not looking back.
No, I think for a lot of us, it was just great to learn a different way of reaching people that want to hear your music. So there's no reason for me to stop doing it. And I'm taking a little break right now, but like you say, after it's 100+ shows, it was time for me to
You
take a
need
few
one.
weeks off just to kind of recalibrate. And it takes a lot of focus. I was doing, to do that many shows in that many months. Obviously it was two shows every Saturday. So it takes, and there were usually two different shows every Saturday. So it takes a lot to have that much material kind of under the fingertips and be ready to perform. But I felt that obligation, because there was a lot of the same people coming to nearly every show, which is just an incredible, humbling thing for me. But it's my obligation, and I feel like, well, I want to make each show great. I want to make each show as different as I can. But yeah, so but in that also, I'm a little spoiled because I got to do all that work without being apart from my family. So
Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge
there is a
benefit.
major
Serious.
benefit to that. So yeah, I am agreeing to do some touring here and there, but it's especially since my son Alex was born, 17 years ago. I made every decision based on how long was it going to take me away from, not only my wife but my son. And so I don't like to be away from home more than 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And for tours to be really profitable, you need to stay out for 4 to 8 weeks at least. And
It's true.
obviously people stay out a lot longer than that, and that's understandable. And I did that quite a bit in my younger years, especially in the danger years, and when I was touring quite a bit with Olivia Newton-John and Simon Phillips. Maybe a month to 2 months wasn't uncommon in those times. Yeah, for sure, a healthy balance. I see no reason, because not everybody, no matter where I'm touring, it's inevitable that I'm not coming to where, pointing at the virtual audience where you are. I can't always make it to, there was a guy off the island, and on an island off the coast of South Africa. It's like, okay, he can tune in, on the internet, but isn't necessarily going to get a show for me and where he lives, right? So, in that way, it'll be an honor to continue to be able to present, my music to people who won't be able to come to shows. And then obviously, I dearly love playing in front of live audiences. So to do
Absolutely.
that on a consistent basis, night after night, is going to be, I mean, very rewarding for what that is, But for sure, I should have warned you for my lengthy answers for a simple question.
No, this
But
is
yeah,
great.
I'm going to continue, the virtual as well as the live, because I truly love each of them. It is a little, I mean, there's a lot of questions that I get asked about. Isn't that really weird being by yourself? And it's not, as far as doing the live stream concerts, it's not really weird. It's just different. The only stressful part is that it's usually me in the room alone, and I'm, having to look after lights and audio and then performing and,
Oh my
and
gosh.
trying to communicate with people. So it's a pretty daunting task in that I'm having to wear all those hats where, as a live touring musician, I'm spoiled. I get to show up and just focus on mainly, the music and presenting, my playing in the best possible way and the band sounding as good as we can sound. So in that way, it's different. And then, of course, when you stop playing a song, it's just dead air, which can make some performers very uncomfortable.
Rapturous
But I've just got,
applause.
right? You just people are typing in all caps, applause, and so it's just kind of funny after the first couple of gigs. Like, okay, I get this, and I've done plenty of performing with the pre-records of my band, basically, like tour the world doing guitar clinics for Mesa Boogie amplifiers and Ibanez guitars at two companies that I endorse. And so, I'm used to being on stage by myself at times. Always preferable to have my band with me, but that's how I do these shows. I've got all the mixes from all my records going back to the late '80s, and can basically replicate, most music from my entire catalog in these shows. So
That's amazing.
I
I
got
love
very
that.
comfortable very quickly, aside from having to wear all the hats of a stage crew and one guy.
And the reason I asked, I almost forgot my original question. Because we're having so
That's the
it's a good
rambling
time.
answer for you.
This is excellent. The reason I asked is because I definitely want to promote that, man. If you can't see Andy Timmons, or if you want to see Andy Timmons, stageit.com is the place to go then. If you can't see
Yeah.
him in person, if you can't catch a live gig, go to stageit.com after the supersense.app performance. You can check all that stuff out on our website, supersense.app. You mentioned your band. Have you guys been reconnecting?
Well, yeah, we never were unconnected, but yeah,
Sure.
we've been talking about, because we have tentative shows on the East Coast in the fall, that keep getting switched around because of venue issues, et cetera. But
Ooh.
and Mike Dane and I have gotten together a couple times as we got vaccinated and things were kind of loosening up a little bit. But yeah, we've both been very careful, but obviously in touch by phone and et cetera. So they're very, very anxious to get back with Mike and work on studio material. And we did a little bit of recording for a project that he was working on recently, so that was great to be in the studio together, because we just haven't had that experience,
Oh, that's
since
amazing.
early
That is,
2020s.
I mean, the new Styx album just came out, and it's all like they recorded. I think if I remember it, they recorded about 70% of it remotely, just from different parts of
Wow.
the states. It was
Sure.
just crazy to
Yeah.
hear how it sounded.
Yeah.
Um,
I just heard the new Journey single that's coming out. And they did the recording the same way, just virtually. That's how the Redcoats record was made, even though that was actually done right before the pandemic. But because we live in different cities, everybody would record their
right.
parts wherever they were. But it sounds like we're in the room. And when you get players of a certain level, you're really going to be able to get that same energy. Not
For
as great
sure.
as if you're staring eyeball to eyeball with a drummer, which I prefer. But there's a track coming out soon that I did a little uh, kind of a charity track that I did with Kip Winger and Mike Portnoy and Jeff Scott Soto,
Oh,
a version
nice.
of "She Said She Said" by the Beatles,
What a
and
lineup.
that'll be released on sometime on the internet in the next few weeks. Now, of course, I would have loved to have been in the room with the guys, but it still sounds great because these guys are great players.
Absolutely. I think that's opening up a lot of doors for people too, who maybe there are these virtual jam platforms even outside of virtual studio sessions where people are able to play in these really low latency environments virtually as if they
Wow.
were playing together almost, which is kind of
Yeah.
insane.
Well,
for
yeah. So I
musicians.
look forward to that. That technology has certainly come a long way.
Yeah.
You know, so
As
I
a
look,
drummer, it makes me nervous. I'm like, okay, wait, how
yeah,
locked in are we really?
yeah, and I'm extremely particular about that. Which, even just recording in the studio as digital technology was in its infancy, there was a lot of latency issues on. It'll drive you nuts. So
Oh
I
yeah.
haven't delved into that platform yet. So I'm looking forward to the technology getting even better and hopefully making that really possible. you know.
Absolutely, man. You mentioned the Redcoats. Let's talk about them for a second. You guys have a live
Sure.
gig coming up too, right?
Yeah, the inaugural Redcoats gig will be coming up August 13th, which is at the Guitar Sanctuary, which is in the town where I live in McKinney, Texas. And
That's a
so
great
we
venue.
it really is a great venue, and of course I'm spoiled because it's 10 minutes from my house. And my best friend is the owner, so it's kind of handy. But
That's
the
very
Redcoats, for
convenient.
those that don't know, is a kind of a super band project put together by Matt Bissonette, who's just a legendary bass player. Has played with Satriani back in the day and David Lee Roth, and but currently tours with Elton John. And his brother just happens to be the incredible Greg Bissonette, who was in that original David Lee Roth band, but has toured with literally everybody, and now tours with Ringo Starr, which is for the big Beatle fan that he and I are. It's like the ultimate gig
How
for
can
him.
you get higher?
You could not.
Seriously.
That I mean, just sitting next to your true hugest hero. It's just incredible. So I've seen him several times with that band, and it's just amazing. Steve Lukather, another one of my heroes on guitar. So
Wow.
it's the Bissonette brothers, and so Matt is not only a bass player but a great singer and writes amazing tunes. So it's basically all his compositions, and then Greg and Matt played bass and drums, and a guy named Wally Minko played keyboards, and Mike Medina, who's a dear friend of mine for years here in Dallas, he was the bass player in a side project I had called the Pond Kings. That was kind of we called ourselves a blues band, but it was kind of everything in the kitchen sink kind of musical
True, true.
gig we had together. So Mike, got all the tracks together and mixed and kind of helped put it all together at his studio. Everybody just emailed the tracks to Mike, and he did the mixing and everything. Did a phenomenal job. So it's a fun record because it literally Matt's concept was, well, I want it to just be whatever we want to do. I want to if there needs to be a 5-minute drum solo in the middle of the song, fine. So it's kind
There are
of
two of those,
fusion,
if I
yeah,
remember right. Two
fusion
or
and
three.
Latin and pop, the rock, some jazzy bits. Just these great players having a great time. So it was an honor. And I was honored that they asked me to do it, which they know a few other guitar players, so to speak. So
I feel ya.
I took it as a huge compliment that they asked me to do it, and it was fun
Serious.
for me because I just kind of just hit record and let things fly, and it's got a very raw, fresh kind of vibe to it. But there are some tunes where I had to really really shed quite a bit because Matt wrote these incredible like fusiony lines that are very difficult to play. So it's some challenging stuff, some very free form stuff, but it's very gratifying and very nice sounding musical adventure.
Sounds like the best kind of project, man. Seriously.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, these are the things that come along every now and then that you go, wow, I'm really proud of that, and I
What a
enjoyed the
good time.
process. So, yeah,
Jesus.
and I just love anything that takes me out of my natural environment,
Yeah.
whatever that is. I mean, obviously, I like to do on my own. I do a variety of things, but then if something comes along that challenges me in a different way, that would have me do something that I wouldn't necessarily do on my own, then it's even better for me. That's how I always view the Simon Phillips band Protocol. I love the way he writes, but I would never write music like that. But I love the challenge of doing it and being able to execute it, on the highest level that I can. So to be challenged is good. It's always good for you because you're learning and you're pushing your boundaries.
I love the stuff with Simon Phillips. That's some of
Ah,
my
thank you.
favorite stuff to play as well as a
Thank you.
as a percussionist.
Yeah,
Simon Phillips is the heights, man.
he's he's kind of great. I mean,
He's
yeah,
he's kind of superb.
he's kind of pretty good.
It's,
But yes, I mean, yeah, again for in his music, he tends to lean towards, not always, but leans towards odd time signature, meaning
yeah,
things that
love it.
aren't strict 3/4 6/8 4/4. So again, if something's in 15/16 or 11/8,
Oh yeah,
a different part of my brain needs to be engaged. You cannot be on, oh, let's float amongst the stars. gotta have your full game helmet on for playing some of that
You
stuff.
can't mess around with Simon
You can't,
Phillips, man.
well, yeah. So
Compositions.
yeah, it's but again, there's I don't mean to paint it in a negative way. It's just a matter. It's a different,
Yeah,
a different
it's
approach and
it's
requires
intense.
a different set of skills. Yeah, it can be very intense.
Yeah,
But yeah, that playing with saying we'll do more in the future. We haven't been together lately, but yeah, no, I look forward to doing more stuff with Simon. He's a treat to work with.
that is that is unbelievable. I keep I keep going back to this, just imagining making a mistake as Ringo Starr's bass player. What do you do? How do you live with yourself?
You mean Elton John or yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Matt plays without. Yeah, but with Matt and Greg, I boy, I don't see it happening. These guys are
Yeah, I know.
just
I
they
know.
just you know
Two
I
of
forgot.
the very few people on this planet who I think could confidently play with those incredible
Well,
superstars
yeah,
and
of course.
probably be fine. Not be shaken at
Yeah,
all. No
ex-
problem.
ex- exactly. Well, that's just it. They have the experience. Of course, everybody
It's
wants to
true.
do their best. Can't have for every gig, and nobody's perfect, and everybody's a human being. But I think maybe Steve Vai was talking about Greg Bissonette after one of the David Lee Roth tours. He said he never dropped a beat the entire tour. Nothing was ever misplaced.
I cannot
So
imagine that.
high praise coming from Steve
That's
and
seriously.
from his Zappa
Wow.
background.
That's incredible. Seriously.
Yeah, they're
So as is our form, we plan to talk for 5 minutes and talk for 20. Um, I love it.
well, gonna chat. I've had both of my coffees, so yeah, it
This
does
is
show our
perfect.
passion for what we do, and I can't wait
Absolutely.
to play for
Absolutely.
everybody.
I've been over here this whole time. Let me come at this from a different angle for the last question. I want to
Yes,
really
I
throw you off
appreciate
here.
your
What,
stereo-ness is intriguing.
I know we this is our half interview, half sound check day. What's
Yeah.
the what can people expect from the show, man? What are you going to be playing? What can people look forward to?
Man, I'm going to be basically kind of going through my entire career's catalog. Like I say, my first solo record came out in 1994, but some of those recordings date back to 1988. So, from the late 80s forward, and I've got quite a few, instrumental CDs that I put out over the years, instrumental records. So, obviously my voice is the electric lead guitar. So a lot of my songs don't have singing, but I've always thought that music really is a deep level of expression
It's
in the
true.
right hands. I've always said that language, the written language and the spoken language is very finite, where music can often dig a little deeper than what can't be expressed verbally. And there's a lot of my music that I think kind of reflects that. Some of the ballads, and so, but I might throw a couple of vocal tunes in there. I've been known to sing some Beatles and stuff like that along the way. You've seen some of that on the
Yeah,
stage
don't forget
gigs,
that
right?
Hendrix. There's always good stuff.
And some Hendrix. So yeah, and I'll take requests if I can do something. If somebody is familiar with my stuff and wants to send a request through you, and let me
I'd love
know
to
about
hear
what they might want to.
Pungent Larry.
Yeah.
Can you play that one for me?
That's an obscure track. That's a track that Mike Dane wrote before we met. He wrote that when he was a teenager in Detroit, Michigan. And when we first put the Andy Timmons band together in 1988, he had that tune. We didn't have many original songs. So we said, hey, I've got this tune called Punch a Larry. Great, let's do it. So that's kind of a fusion. I don't have a backing track for that because that
Number
was
one
done. That was
title.
only demoed. That was demoed in a studio called Sound Southwest. Not with Robert Wexler. So that's a rare track.
Wow.
That's a deep cut that was put on you must have the anthology collection.
Yeah. Yep.
You may be the third person ever to request that song. Believe it or not, there's been a couple other requests for that
Wow.
in Japan. In Japan, for some reason, we had a couple of fans that wanted to hear that one.
They're excellent people.
We
Seriously.
may have. I think we did. I think we actually did that in Japan. We worked that up with the original drummer Mitch Marine on one of our tours in the
Jesus.
late 2000s. We did.
I'm living in the wrong country. My God.
Well, see that makes sense to me. That appeals to your fusion tendencies there, Shane.
Oh yeah. Some of the best music fans in the world in Japan. Seriously.
There are, no doubt about it. The thing is that there are music lovers everywhere, and
Absolutely.
For sure, Japanese fans tend to be pretty dedicated, and they really dig deep, and that's the thing that I love about them. Because I'm the same way when I say they're
Oh yeah.
everywhere, because I'm the biggest music geek as there could be anywhere. So, but yeah, I've just had great experiences in Japan. I first went in 1990 with Danger Danger, and God, I've been over 20 times now in different, all kinds of different bands and different promotional trips or clinic tours, and I love it there quite a bit. All over Southeast Asia, I have a great time. So very, very fortunate that I've got fans sprinkled all over the globe. And so now, again, that's the other things. I can't always travel over there, but I had several Japanese fans tuning in to a lot of the stage gigs. So that's again, we'll keep reaching out on this handy internet that we've got here. Like July 15th, I'm coming. I'll be playing for a lot of people that have maybe never heard my music or likely have never heard my music. So, it's a great opportunity, and I hope that I can reach some people and touch them
I think
with
so.
some good music. Yeah,
I think it's gonna happen.
I look
Let me go
forward
back
to
to
that.
my more neutral position here.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was starting to lean a certain way.
But yeah, lining up like a target on a video game, just lining up on my,
Exactly. There he is. There. No, he's over there. Wait.
just jumping around.
Yeah.
I appreciate all your time, man. I cannot wait for this show. Thursday, July 15th. We're gonna get started about 7 p.m. Andy's gonna be starting at about 9 p.m. Eastern time. It's gonna be
Awesome.
fantastic. Supersense.app for all of the info. It's coming at you. You can follow us, Supersense AI, on Twitter and the Facebooks, all the places. I've naturally drifted off to the side again. I don't know how that happened.
That's okay. We'll lean with you, man. It's all
Yeah,
right.
thank you so much for everything, man.
Thanks,
Absolutely,
Shane.
it's been a pleasure.
Same here, man. I look forward to hanging out with everybody.